This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, November the 29th, is a current NFL quarterback for the Denver Broncos. But he was not always a Denver Bronco, he was a legend, playing his first 10 years for the Seattle Seahawks, being one of the greatest dual-threat quarterbacks of all time, aka he could run with the ball and pass the ball. He actually played college football at NC State, and then was selected by Seattle in the draft. And he looked pretty good. He was a good quarterback. At one time, he was the highest paid player in the NFL, and actually is part owner of the Seattle team in MLS. And the Sounders won the MLS Cup with him, so he technically is the owner of an MLS champion. His name, Russell Wilson, who's now 35 years old. Can't believe he's only 3 years younger than I am. Anyway, Wilson was born in Cincinnati and grew up in Richmond, Virginia. It was actually found out that Wilson's great-great-grandfather was enslaved to a Confederate colonel, but was freed after the Civil War ended. But he actually has European family lineage traced back to 524 AD. But anyway, Russell Wilson went to Richmond to play high school football and went through the Manning Passing Academy, and in the offseason he would commit to NC State ahead of Duke. So he was redshirted during the 2007 season, meaning that he didn't lose a year of eligibility, but he couldn't play. So anyway, he would split time in 2008. Russell Wilson helped them out with 4 straight wins at the end of the year. They went to the Papa John's Bowl against Rutgers. But unfortunately, though, NC State lost. Mostly because he had a knee sprain. But he was named to first team All-CC at ACC as quarterback. So anyway, it looked pretty impressive. He had a streak of 379 passes without an interception in the NCAA, which was a record until Louisiana Tech's Colby Cameron broke it in 2012. Wilson had 31 touchdown passes, but the Wolfpack were 5-7. But in 2010, he led them to 9 wins and a big win over West Virginia in the Champs Sports Bowl in Orlando. He led the ACC in passing yards per game and graduated from NC State with a BA, Bachelor of Arts in Communication. So anyway, Russell Wilson was there, but he would report to spring training with the Colorado Rockies organization. All that. So he was given a release from his full pro scholarship with 1 year of eligibility left. And Russell Wilson committed to Wisconsin. Because he had graduated, he didn't have to sit out a year for transfer. So he went to Wisconsin and helped them for 1 season. He got them to the Big Ten championship game in 2011, which was actually the first time that the Big Ten decided to do a Big Ten championship. The winner of 2 divisions. And the Badgers shocked Michigan State, winning 42-39. He was named the game's MVP and finished 9th in Heisman Trophy voting. In the Rose Bowl against Oregon, he did okay, 296 yards passing. Unfortunately, though, they lost in a tight one, 45-38. He put up 33 passing touchdowns, which was second in Big Ten history behind only Drew Brees with his 39. So anyway, yeah, he played 3 years for NC State and then went to Wisconsin. I always remember him as a Wisconsin Badger. People projected him to maybe be a 2nd-round pick, but unfortunately he became a 3rd-round pick. If we look at the quarterbacks drafted ahead of Mr. Wilson, well, Indy first overall took Andrew Luck because, you know, they moved on from Peyton. Washington took RG3, Robert Griffin, 3rd, and it worked out in a sense until he got injury prone. Miami with the 8th pick took Ryan Tannehill from Texas A&M. Cleveland took Brandon Weeden from Oklahoma State, who was this, 27-year-old playing college football, which was not fair. And Brock Osweiler went 57th to Denver. We all know how that ended up. So Wilson went in the 3rd round, 75th overall, to the Seahawks. And they were criticized for picking him because they picked up Matt Flynn off free agency. Wilson would sign a 4-year deal with the Seahawks and all that. He was named the starting quarterback for opening day. They lost to Arizona, but he was 18 for 34. And in his third regular season game, it was actually remembered as the Fail Mary, as Russell Wilson had allegedly threw a touchdown pass to Golden Tate to win the game for the Seahawks in the final play. But the problem was that at the same time, Green Bay thought they had intercepted the ball, and it was like simultaneous possession. And people thought that it was an interception. Of course, the officials had some fights, and there were replacement officials. And this game was basically the last straw, and then the real officials came in, and the referee lockout was broken. Russell Wilson did pretty well. He was 5-0 in December 2012 as an offensive rookie of the year. So he was 4th in passer rating, pretty good. He set the rookie record. That he threw for 26 touchdowns, tying Peyton Manning's record for most touchdowns thrown by a rookie. And he looked good. Seattle went to the postseason. Their first game in Washington, they won 24-14. And then in the division round against Atlanta, it was close. They almost shocked Atlanta in the ATL, but Atlanta kicked the winning field goal. So he did fine. But his second season, people didn't realize how good his second season was. The Seahawks were on a huge streak and all that. They had their first 4-0 start in franchise history when they did that, and then they went on a 7-game winning streak. Seattle won 13 games that season, the NFC West title and the 1 seed in the playoffs. So anyway, it looked good. In the divisional round, Seattle narrowly beat New Orleans by 8 points, and then they beat San Fran 23-17. The game when Richard Sherman went off on Michael Crabtree in the post-game interview rant. But in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 48, few could imagine how good Russell Wilson was. He threw for 2 touchdowns, but Seattle's defense was just amazing, winning 43-8, crushing Denver like a grape. Wilson became the second black starting quarterback to win a Super Bowl, joining Doug Williams, who was the first black quarterback in the Super Bowl and helped Washington win Super Bowl 22. And at 5'11", he was actually the shortest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. So that's amazing. He's only 5'11", like myself. The shortest quarterback to win a Super Bowl was 6 feet. That's hard to believe. Joe Montana was higher, was bigger than 6 feet. Anyway, the 2014 season, he helped Seattle get back to the postseason and the 1 seed. They beat Carolina by 2 touchdowns. And then they were in trouble against the Packers. In that famous NFC Championship game, that the Packers were up 16-0. And Russell Wilson went to work with a couple of key plays. And he threw a touchdown to Jermaine Kearse in overtime to help Seattle get to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. And he became the first quarterback ever to be part of 2 Super Bowls in his first 3 seasons. And the Seahawks, for the first time in 11 years, had a defending champion return to the Super Bowl. Seattle almost had it, but Russell Wilson threw a terrible pass that was intended for Ricardo Lockett, which Malcolm Butler intercepted at the 1-yard line. That was a criticized move. Even I criticized that, and I'm a Patriots fan, that they should have used Marshawn Lynch. It would have been a touchdown. Regardless, though, Seattle gave him a 4-year, $87 million contract extension, making him the second highest paid player in the NFL. Wilson would break a lot of Seahawks passing records in 2015, including passing yards, 4,024, passing touchdowns, 34, and passer rating, 110. He just did well. Seattle went to Minnesota in the wild card round and could have lost if it wasn't for Blair Walsh's terrible field goal shank to end the game. Laces out. Seattle went to face the 15-1 Carolina Panthers and actually were down 31-0 and came back to make it 31-24. But you know how it was. 2016 season, He helped the Seahawks win the NFC West with 10 wins. They faced Detroit in the wildcard round, beat them, but lost to Atlanta in the division round. The 2017 season, they won 9 games, but did not make the playoffs. 2018 season, Seattle. He got them as the 5 seed. They went to Dallas and fell by inches, 24-22. So he would sign a 4-year, $140 million contract extension in 2019, making him the highest paid player in the NFL. And how did he do the first year of that contract? Well, he went for 4,110 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Seattle was the 5 seed. They went in the wild card round and narrowly beat the Eagles 17-9, but lost to the Packers in the divisional round. The 2020 COVID season, he led Seattle into the playoffs with 4,212 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, but they lost to the Rams 30-20 in the playoffs. In his final year with Seattle in 2021, he was actually injured. And week 6 against Pittsburgh was the first time he missed a game in his career, which was unbelievable. He had 149 consecutive games started by an NFL quarterback, 6th all time. So anyway, Seattle had a losing record for the first time since Russell's arrival. And then for some strange reason, Seattle decided to trade Wilson and a 4th round pick to Denver for 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, quarterback Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, and Noah Fant. A lot of people said that Wilson basically checked out mid-season, if you will. And a lot of people said that Wilson was not happy with team moves and reportedly asked for Pete Carroll to be fired, but Wilson denied it. He would sign a 5-year, $245 million contract with the Broncos September 2022, meaning he would be paid the grand sum of nearly $50 million a year. So anyway, in the season opener against the Seahawks, ironic enough, he had 340 yards and a touchdown, but the Seahawks won 17-16. Wilson would bounce back and beat Houston. And then it was just terrible and all that. Wilson, in his first year with the Broncos, passed for 3,524 yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. It was a massive disappointment. And Wilson was sacked more times than any other quarterback in the 2022 season. And Broncos had the worst scoring offense, 16.9 points per game. Wilson underwent arthroscopic surgery on his right knee, and Wilson, as of this taping, has had a few decent games. So in the NFL, in the state, right now, he has done pretty well for himself. 108 wins as a starting quarterback. He has thrown for more than 40,000 yards. Well, as of this taping, 113 wins as a quarterback, 42,648 passing yards, 327 touchdowns, and 102 interceptions. So yeah, he's done pretty well. Rushing the ball, he's ran for over 5,000 yards as a quarterback. In the postseason, he's 9-7 with 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, with 3,786 yards. He actually holds the record for most passing yards in a playoff game by rookie, 385, and most fourth quarter touchdown passes in a season, 16 in 2017. He holds lots of Seattle records. Of course, he's a 2-time NFC champion and a Super Bowl champion. Always consistently in the NFL top 100. But here's the thing about Russell Wilson. He actually was given a chance to play baseball. Baltimore picked him in the 41st round of the 2007 MLB draft. They offered him $350,000 as a signing bonus, but Wilson said no. He wanted a college education. Colorado picked him in the 4th round of the 2010 draft. So he played for Colorado's affiliates and all that. And then Texas acquired his rights from Colorado. And he attended a couple of spring trainings and all that. So anyway, yeah, he went to the Yankees organization, but other than that, he continued football. He's been working with flag football organizations in China, Brazil, Canada, and the UK, and all that. popular culture. He's been on many magazines and all that. He has a bachelor's degree in communications and then got a master's degree in educational leadership and policy analysis. He married his first wife in 2012, but they divorced in 2014. And Wilson is married to the American R&B singer Ciara, Ciara. They have 2 children. So anyway, now they live in Cherry Hills, Colorado. All that. Wilson is a devout Christian and always talks about his Christian faith on social media. He's done a lot of charity work, and he's done a lot of things for the Seattle Seahawks organization, including Jason Lindgren. So anyway, Seattle may not have Russell Wilson, but he's still a good quarterback and the best Seahawks quarterback of all time. Fight me on it. Anyway, I'm Jeff Nov29.